on is not the Lexer. I'm thinking, I'm trying to decide what I want to do with the Lexer because I had some conversations on Twitter and I thought about it, and I was kind of not feeling great about the direction of the keyword lexing situation. And but my plan was to just push through to the end of that and make a finished working version and then scrap that plan, because there's a few problems. The code size is just much too big. It would make the executable like 300k bigger, and I don't think that that's probably good for speed. So just having so much memory that you have to jump through that's in the data segment of the executable seems like a bad situation to me. So what I plan to do now is put that off for a week while I think about whether or not I still want to finish that path or just scrap it before it's ever done, because I have a better plan now that it was kind of Sean Barrett who gave a tweak to me, and who tweaked my my thinking on the issue just a little bit in such a way that I think I have a better plan now. But while I'm putting that off, I do have other things going on in 4coder right now that I'd like to put some work on. And I don't know why, but I always like doing code gen on stream. So today what I plan to do is there's a lot of stuff in the 4coder custom system that is sort of a good candidate for being generated. And I'm starting to move things around in that system again. I'm adding new functions and changing existing functions, and I'm planning to delete a few of the functions actually that exist and replace them with helpers. And with that going on, I feel like it's a good time to finally start auto-generating it, because every time I add and remove these things, it's actually just a lot of work to keep everything in sync, and I'd really like to just have it kind of spit out all the right code, and then I can just update the list whenever I want to. So that's the plan for today, is to auto-generate the functions defined for 4coder custom. So let me show you exactly what the problem is that I'm talking about solving right now. And I'm running the newest version of 4coder, I believe, and I believe I'm attached to the debugger. No, I'm not. So I had to detach, I guess, so that I could test some stuff. But normally I like to run with the debugger attached so that I can catch things. But oh well, we're not attached to the debugger right now. But some of the stuff that needs to be auto-generated is all the stuff in application links. This has grown quite large, and I plan to squash some of these functions, as I mentioned, and so that there are fewer of them again. I have some ideas on how we can, like, getting rid of this function. We can just get rid of that. This whole concept of the position within a buffer is going to go away. It's going to completely be associated per view from now on. There's also the idea of sort of seeking through the buffer is going to go away, and instead I'm going to use a sort of helper function that just uses a generic seek system. So we won't have seeking for a delimiter and seeking for a string and seeking for a string insensitive, because I'm going to have to make a million versions of this. So as you can see, this to-do here says we need a more flexible version. Well, I've got a helper now that I think will be able to implement all of these features plus any other seeking that we need. So we're going to go with that instead. So those all have to go. And let's see, in here we've got compute cursor and then these complicated setting cursor, setting the mark and setting the highlight and whatnot. And that's just going to get reduced down to, now that we can compute cursors, why don't we, instead of setting these cursors, we just, like, the set cursors can be simpler. So it's just not doing a buffer seek to set them. It's just, here's the cursor value that it should be at, right? And so on. I think there's a few others. We probably don't need get commands input anymore because of reasons that will become clear in the future. And then there's a bunch of new stuff coming in, and all the changes I have to make, I just don't feel like doing them by hand. So what I want to do is I want to generate all of this code that does all these defines, all of this code that then does all the type deaths for those defines, and then all of this code that drops those defines into the apps links struct. So that's what I'm going to do first. Now, to do all that, what I first need is I need a source file. And the way the source file is going to be formatted is it's just going to be a bunch of declarations of sort of what the function signature is and what the name is for that function. Alright, so let's take a look at that. What I need for that is something like custom API spec.txt or something like this. And then what I want is I'm going to grab just a copy of all of these defines to begin with, and we're going to use those to generate our sort of source spec. Alright, so here are some rules. Blank lines will be allowed. Commented lines will be allowed. We won't have this, so instead of that, what I want to do is take this name out and then delete all of that, and then replace the n with the name. And I want to store the name here in sort of this format, right? So it'll be push parameter, so that it sort of says how it should be camel cased if you're doing upper and lower mix. And then I can have a thing that does convert all the upper, convert all the lower as I need to. Okay, so that'll just be the first thing we need to do, is just replacing each line like so, and then getting rid of that. And let's see, I can lower all of that, and then memory push, boom, 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 execute command. And then I'm also leaving that the sort of arguments signature there, as you can see. So I'll have all the information about what the signature and the names of these things are in one place, and I will generate the code that I'm currently using from this list, basically, is the plan. Alright. Let's just do all of that first, and then I'll go back through and adjust the names. And this is the kind of thing that could obviously be improved by a macro system. It'd be like begin at this line, set the mark, control right, control backspace, backspace, set mark, control left, cut, control left, left, delete, control right, right, delete, paste, I think would work as a macro, but I don't have macros built in yet, so here I am. That's a more pleasant way of doing it, I think. Whoops. Yeah. Well, one thing I could do to make this faster is we could say, let's just delete all of the defines real quick. Yes. And then let's delete all cases of paren n. Paren. Alright. So now it's just boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Okay, now what I want to do is get rid of all these underscore sigs. All right. Okay, so now all that's left to do is to fix these names up. So I want to. Do I still have Alt S? No, what is it? Is it Alt? I can't remember. Let me go to bindings. Save. I had at one point defined this as a little helper. What does that do? Ah, that's cool. Where do I have like 2 uppercase, 2 lowercase? Alright, so I've got it around here somewhere. It just does a camel, upper, maybe it's an include that it's defined. Upper, little camel. Man, where is this? 2. Go to line, auto tab. I can't remember. I had this actual function at one point in here, but now at this point I probably spent more time looking for it than I would have spent just manually doing it. Close all code. Query replace, replace in range, search, reverse search, iSearch, go to line, save as, open file in quote, snipe token or word, backward, if, end if, long braces, right string, basic seek. Yes, it's not in there anywhere. It must be in default bindings. Begin HTML mode, we don't really need that experiment stuff in here anymore. We can get rid of that. And I'll just get rid of all that too. I'm kind of sick of it being there. Switch to compilation, move up 10, move down 10. Rewrite as single caps. Ah, rewrite as single caps. That's the one I wanted. Rewrite as single. Yeah, looks like that's not bound anywhere anymore. So let's go down here. Let's say let's say that rewrite as single caps. What is that going to get bound to? Z, Y, X, W, V, U. Alright, let's do capital U. Context, capital U, modifier, control, rewrite as single caps. And I want the previous rewrite as single caps had one small issue, which was that afterwards it didn't move the cursor. What I'd like to do now is say, so this gets the active view, sets the min, moves to the next token, sets the max, and then afterwards I'd like to say let's store that full cursor and I'd like to get the active view right away and then refresh the view, and in there I'd like to do cursor equals view.cursor, and then it'll move around. But then what I can finally do is restore the cursor to its original position. So view or app view set cursor, and what I want to set it to is app, let's see, the view that I care about, and then buffer seek, or seek line, okay, what's the name of it? Seek line char from the cursor dot line +1 cursor dot character, and yeah, set the preferred X after. Right, so I kept those around, but I got rid of the totally useful rewrite as single caps. Okay, so now what I'll do is we can go ahead and relaunch this in the debugger so that it will pick up the new DLL. Oh, I forgot about one thing. It looks like everything's working right now, so that's a bit lucky. There are some things that are changed in the most recent version, but it looks like we're making it. So let's see. Yeah, so what I would need to do is go to the code and open up that spec file. And what I should be able to do now is Control-Shift-U, and there we go, that changes it to the way I want it to be. Control-Shift-U, 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 U. Let's go down one. U, 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 U. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, do. Do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do. Do, do, do. Alright. So that pretty much works. There's a few spots that I don't actually want lowercase, and that's when I see GUI. I want it to stay uppercase. But other than that, that can just be lowercase e. Okay, so it looks like that works. The next thing I want to do is we've got the spec file. Now I want to open up my metagen file, which is responsible for what is that other generator? That's the README generator. I forgot about that one. Alright, so this is responsible for outputting all the code that I'm auto-generating. We're going to open up a new one now. Generate custom headers. And then I'll printf gen success on this. And there we go. So now I will have the generate custom headers function, which starts with file name equals blah and returns that. And that will be, for now, we'll call this 4coder custom API.h, right? This is the first one I want to generate. And so the plan is that custom.h, when I get down here to where all those defines happen, yeah, right here, I want to be able to replace all of that code. Okay, not this code. So this code needs to get pulled out and put somewhere else. But all of this code here, all of that code there, all of that's going to be auto-generated, and then boom, I'll put down the other defines here for now. Okay, so all of that from there all the way through to there, I want to if that out, and then I want to instead include 4coder custom API.h here, and so that header just needs to have all of the content that I just if zeroed out, right? And we've got the spec file that defines all this, right? It keeps the name and the signature, which is enough to regenerate all the various versions of it. So first things first, what we basically have is a bunch of a big array of functions where each function has three major strings: the return string, the name string, and then the arguments string, right? So I'm going to start by just saying, let's set aside a struct here called function signature, where the function signature basically looks like we have the name, we have the return, we have the return, we have ret, and let's do these as like my fancy strings actually. So string name, string ret, and string arg, right? And then what we really just need is an agreeable array of these things that will fill up with information from the file that we open there, right? So let me open up first file source equals fopen. Do I have a dump in here? I don't have a file dump yet, huh? Alright, so we'll call this the data. And the way data works is here's the data, here's the size. Data is the result of file dump char star file name. File equals fopen, the file for reading. And we're going to return data or result at the end. So we're going to have a result here cleared to 0. If we get a file, then what we're going to do is say one thing we need to do is close that file when we're done with it, and then we need to result.size needs to be, well, okay, so first we need to fseek in the file to the end. Then we need to get the end position. Then we need to seek back to the beginning. And then what we need to do is we need to malloc the memory. We need that there. And I'll just +1 on that so that we can do result.data size is a null terminated just for funsies, and then we can fread. That's what we need to do into the result data. The entire file, and then we can close the file. Okay, so now I can get that data out of the file. So let me do file dump. File dump will open up the, what's it called here? Custom API spec txt. And what's really cool is if I do that, I can end up just putting docs into the spec file there in the future, and then this thing could like auto-generate stuff that's like builds the docs into 4coder if I wanted, or like makes a nice formatted explorable data format for 4coder to display or something like that. Anyway, now what I want to do is we're going to start parsing line by line. So it's going to be something like for line, or we'll do string line equals get first line data. Okay, we'll do it this way. Line line dot stir line equals get next line data line. Right, so that'll give me one line at a time. And then with each of those lines, what I want to do is say, all right, here's the deal. First, let's do string parse equals line, parse equals skip white space, parse. If parse dot size is still got, if there's still stuff on the line, then what I'd like to do is say, all right, if parse dot string 0 equals, or if is comment parse, or if is not a comment, then what? Then I want to something like function signature sig equals push signature onto, we'll call it the what I could do is have a count of all the lines first and use that as a sort of guiding principle of how many of these there are. Nah, okay, how do I want to do this? I'd really love to avoid, okay, yeah, okay, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna do this loop, and at each step, we're gonna plus the line count. The line count will start at 0, and we'll get each line, and then what we'll do is we'll have the function signature sigs equals an array of that, where the size of that memory is enough to hold one of those things times the number of lines there are. for now. Obviously, a lot of lines don't necessarily have anything on them, but this is definitely enough, and it's hard to imagine running out of memory, so at the moment I don't care. And then what I want to do is take one signature, function signature sig equals sigs plus sig count, and what I'll do there is we'll have int sig count equals 0 to begin with, then we'll increase sig count by 1, and then finally what we'll do is, alright, for the signature, and what I'd like to add to that signature is like a little valid flag, right? And if I see an invalid line, I'll just throw out a warning and then say, okay, that line didn't look right, but I'm ignoring it and producing results anyway. Okay, so sig name. Okay, so first it's ret equals get identifier, or what does ret want to equal? I want to be able to get everything between now and the current white space, and the first white space. So something like a substring of parse and first white of parse, right? And really what I should be doing then is putting on like a position thing here, where position will equal the first white of parse, and then I'll set the substring like so, and then we'll set I believe that's the start position and then the length, and then we'll set parse equal to the substring of parse position. That's what we want. And then what we want to do is we want to do parse equals skip white space parse, right? And so really that's just sort of the low level version of something else that I want to do, which is I want to say if get name or get until white space into the sig return. Yeah, it's not going to turn out to be reusable at all. You know what? I'll just stick with what I've got here. Then we skip some white space, and then I'm going to do I have a thing that's like seeking a character in string, by the way? Find substring. Find. Okay. Sure. So I want to do. I want to do something more like this: is find inside the string parse, starting at 0, the first space, and then that right there is that substring. This is the everything after that, and then skip all that white space, and then let's see. So now my parse has everything except for the first name, the first chunk of non-white space it saw, and then the white space after that is not included. So then I want to do position equals find the first open paren, and then it's going to be a similar thing. The name is going to equal the substring of parse from 0 to the position, and then we're going to do this. And then finally, now we're not going to skip over that parenthesis. Now what I want is I want to do position equals find, well actually I guess at that point, yeah, so the way that I should probably set this up is at the last step here, I'll just do sig args equals parse, right? And then what I want to do is I want to at each step here make sure I'm doing validity tests. So when I do this computation here, position shouldn't take a, okay, so if I don't find space, what does find do? Okay, so it'll just return size, and that means that this will be the entire thing, and then when I do this and this, it'll be empty. So I don't want parse to be empty. If parse.size is not equal or is greater than 0 still, then continue on. And again, if parse.size is greater than 0, continue on, and set now the, and up here what I should really do is I should really say memset this signature to 0. Alright, so we're going to clear that to 0, and then here when I say valid, I can set that to 1 now, and what then we'll then do is say, look, if the sig is not valid, and something bad happened, so printf a warning here. Warning at I'm looking at compilation. Do I not have a compilation yet? Alright, let's run a compilation real quick. Nice. So warning, oh, it's like I'll just give the short form of the name of the file. That's custom API spec.txt. Don't have a way of getting the line number yet, do I? Oh yeah, I do. I could just do L, like, well, I could do line count actually, right? So %d, warning, generator warning, invalid function signature, and then I want to see what is my line count. I want my line count to start off at 0, and then at each step here I'm going to plus the line count. Alright, so right off the bat I'm on line 1, and then 2, so now that just kind of looks like normal warning. That's kind of cool. And need a new line there. And let's see, other than that, we're getting all these signatures. When we get to the end, what I then need to do is say, okay, yes, I need to go up here, or I can just, I'm not following the C rule right now, I'm declaring anywhere. So file equals fopen up the file name. I guess I'll just name that out, 4coder custom API.h, and let's see, write binary, right? And then I'm going to fclose that. And now what I want to do is I need to generate stuff that matches everything in custom here. So it'll be something like for int I equals 0, I is less than sig count plus I. At each step I would like a function signature sig for sigs plus I. And then what I would like to do is printf the following thing. Define, and let's see, some string parent n space some string n some string new line, right? And now I just need those strings. So there's let's see, Cuber Caleb, hey, how's it going? That's too bad. I don't know how to fix that kind of thing with Patreon. That's too bad though. I was trying to set it up with Stripe, and I have to try again because I didn't try very hard. But I had a little issue getting it to deposit through Stripe. Now that it's already set up with Patreon, but I don't know how to fix it. Anyway, so one thing I could do is just append the sig in there, so I don't have to do that. And then all I have to do is uppercase this into a sort of side nearby buffer that I set with the thing. So let's see. Here we're going to call this like name buffer, and then these ones I can do without, or I can do with sort of star dot type thing where I go sig ret dot size sig ret dot stir. Same thing with the arg. Right, so those I'm just going to put in by size, but the name buffer I have to make a modification to anyway. So what I'm going to do is say while I'm going, let's track int max name size equals 0, and each name I pull out, if it's valid here, what I'm going to do is say, alright, if max name size is less than the signature's name, then let's set that so that we have a better max, right? And then right here we'll have the ability to get the exact right name buffer size. Max name size plus 1, name buffer max name size equals 0. Well, let's do it this way. Int buffer size. You gotta get your buffer size right here, and then I can do stern copy. A stern copy is nice and useful. Caleb, yeah, Patreon kind of wants a thing that it can charge on a monthly basis, so it doesn't let that kind of stuff work usually. If you'd like to do a one-time thing, you can like email me or something, and we can work out a situation. And I'll just email you builds for a month directly. I've done that with a few people. It's worked out deals where they can get things via other methods than Patreon. But if you want to get it permanently, then like if you want to get the recurring thing, I guess you'd have to fix something else. Cause I don't want to I want to every month do something like that. So. Ah, sure. Hey, Abner. Yeah, Cuber, just email me. My email's on the stream, so actually I might have the wrong. Yeah, I don't have that set up right now. Email me right there, and we'll discuss it. Hey, Abner, how's it going? I'm going to copy some stuff into the name buffer. And I'm going to pull it out from name stir. And then we're going to say the size is buffer size, right? Let me double check that I know how stern copy works. Stir copy. See what we get here. Stern copy. Destination source end. Stern copy function is similar except that at most n bytes of source are copied. String place in des will not be null terminated. If the length of source is less than n stern copy, writes additional null bytes des to ensure that a total of n bytes are in. Okay, so it does fill out the zeros there, which is what I wanted to do. That's cool. So now I've got this one, which is null terminated, and these two, which allow me to spit out the correct return type and parameters. Alright, that's cool. And that'll all just get blotted out into one big giant mess. So let's go ahead and just write all of these first, and then I'll go back and get some of the little helpers that I assumed we would make to work. So let's see, this one, before I do anything else, I need to I need to fprintf that stuff actually into the file. And now I can fprintf into the file extern c brace new line, and then over here we can undo that. And then at each step what I want is, let's see, what's the pattern here? I need two name buffers, so I'm going to call this the caps name buffer. It stores caps versions. This is the caps name buffer, and there we go. And I'm probably going to need a second one of the same size, called the function or type or one cap. That should be caps name buffer, by the way. This could just be name buffer, I guess. So caps name, and name buffer. And I guess, well, now that I think about it, I haven't actually done everything I need to do for the first one, right? Because for type def, the first one really needs a little bit more as well. So here's the caps name, sig, and then in there I want the normal name, and then underscore function, and then after that I don't want anything but a semicolon, right? So now I can ignore the arg there. I don't need ret either, so I'm just going to be using the name in a couple of ways now, right? And then what I need to do is I need to visit my string header here and just see if I have a to uppercase string thing. To upper, char to upper. I have match unsensitive, but I don't actually have string to upper, which is fine. I think I have something like that here. String to upper, or upper, or something like this. Char to upper, to camel, to upper. So yeah, so to upper. Let's see, what is this doing? Read something, convert it to the uppercase version, output that, and then, okay, so I just need a source and a dest, which I have. I can use the same spot twice, I bet. So let me go back down to generate. I'm already at generate custom headers. Generate. There we go. And so right here I want to upper this thing to itself, right? And same thing down here, I want to upper that one and do nothing fancy to this one. And I think up there I'm going to have to add a to lower, so I'm going to go back up there and go ahead and do that. To, oh, I've already, awesome, okay. So to upper blah blah blah, and now I've got type def sig. Right, so that did, in custom here, it did the uppercase and this one, parentheses, semicolon, new line, blah blah blah, so that fills out all these type defs. And then I need the application links. So that goes something like this. I need another loop very similar to this one. You know, I don't actually need name buffer, do I? I could do that as, since it's just the exact same thing, why don't I just do that as star dot, and then sig name stir sig name. Oh, stern copy's got a problem. So what I want is more like one of my own copies, I guess. So copy into caps name buffer from the string, and then let's just fix these because that otherwise isn't going to work. And I need caps name buffer sig name size 0 to be zeroed so that I have a null terminator there. Same thing with here, because I'm not sure that well, I could check. I don't think that my copies actually perform. Copy fast, unsafe. Yeah, it doesn't perform any null termination as I suspected, so that'll just blot out a nice little null terminated string for me. Then I can 2-upper on it. And that works there and there. And then on the next one here, we're doing stern copy, so we don't want that, but I do want to copy into the name buffer. I guess now I don't need caps name buffer again, right? So I can go back to just using name buffer for everything, because there's only one at a time, ever. So name buffer, caps. We can get rid of caps name buffer here, caps name buffer, 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 and yeah, so instead of name buffer there, what I can do is just use the name stir name size. Oops, I need this one to be size and this one to be stir. Okay, so that gives me a size and a string, and then I append function, and that's fine. Alright, so this one is like struct application links, and so at the end it's got a semicolon, I bet. And then at each step, it's like space, space, space. It's kind of like this one. Why is there still a caps name buffer there? Which looks like sig name size, sig name stir. Right, so I plop that one out. That needs to be a star dot. And then I do star, and then I do the name of the thing, but to lower to now, right? So I'm going to take this and go to lower on the name buffer, and I need a null terminator on that null buffer for that to work. So we copy, we null terminate, then we either 2-upper it or 2-lower it, and then I can do u and then %s. And then I just output the string in the name buffer there. And then we don't need any stern copy here. Alright, so now, all the way through, we start at the beginning each time. We define something called at %s, which is, why does it still say caps name buffer? Okay, so we have a name buffer, which is null terminated with a copy of the name. Then we 2-upper that, so it's all uppercase. And we use that to make the macro. And then we put in the return and the parameters. Then we do the same thing again, only now we're under an extern C, and we type def. The name of the function, or the %s there, is the 2-upper version again, and then the star.s is the regular unmodified name, and then a function there. And then we use the unregular unmodified function name here along with name buffer, which came from, that's a stern copy still. I want to switch that over to a copy. And then name buffer gets null terminated again, and we to lower it this time so that it matches this precedent that I have over here. Now that should be everything that I need it to do, but it won't compile yet because there are helpers that I never actually created. So let's try this. String get first line, string, we'll call this the source, and the way that'll work is I need to return something called a line, which I'll set us up for. And to do that, I need to do the line, or let's do int position equals find inside the source, starting at position 0, the first new line character, right? And that'll search along until it finds that new line character. And then what I want to do is if source.stir position is a new line character, or if position, actually let's just test if that's less than the size, then I want to subtract 1 from it, so I don't include the new line there. And then I want to do line equals the substring within the source, starting from the beginning and going to the position, right? So that's how we start that. And then there's got to be string get next line, which takes the source and the current line. We'll call this next and return next. And then int position is going to start off by being the line dot size, or the line dot stir minus the source stir, right? So that gives me the position I'm at plus the line's size, and then we're going to add 1 and say if position is less than source stir, or is less than source size, then what we want to do is blah blah blah, else well, otherwise we just return this null string, I guess. And let's see, we increase the position. If we're less than the size, then what I want to do is assert. Do I have assert yet? I don't even have assert here. Top include, do I not have assert down there? No. Cool. Let's include assert.h. Alright, now let's go back to where I was. Generate, what was I generating just now? The custom headers. I want to set the positions. If the position dot source is less than the source size, then I want to assert that source string position should still equal a new line character, and then I would like to increase the position again and do the start equals 0. We'll do start actually will equal position plus 1, and then position will equal find in the source starting from start a new line character, right? And then same deal as before. If the position is actually less than the source, oh wait, no, I'm doing this wrong. If I find the character where the new line exists, I don't need to subtract 1 anyway, right? So if I get the position where we are, that's I don't need to add one either, I don't think. If position is less than the source size, we haven't gone to the end yet, then right, so okay. Then what I want to do is say, okay, so position equals blah blah blah. If position is still less than source size, no, I don't need to do that. What I do need is we have where we started, and we have that should be one after the new line. So I do care if yeah, I do need start to be less than the source size. Then I can find the position where the next new line occurs, and I can say, alright, great, then line should be the substring within the source, starting from start and going to a length of position minus start. I believe that would solve that problem. 527 line equals get first line. Oh, data is not a string, is it? Okay, that's fine. Let's just say that we'll do this in terms of strings, since I've already got strings sitting around. Result.size result.stir result.memory size equals result.size plus 1 memory size 478 result stir .519 char star file name string 543 skip white space. Okay, so we need a string that can do skip white space, and the way that'll work is we want to go let's see if I have anything in string for this actually first. Char is white not R, alpha true numeric string makes 0 substring tail string match and find has substring int to string string to int color to hex string copy fast copy append terminate with null compare reverse seek slash front of directory get front of directory set last folder file. Okay, so there's no trim white skip white space in there, so that's fine. I'll just do it here. How should I do this? Yeah, for I less than string size and string I and char is white space. While that char is still white space and we're still within the size, right? We check if we're in the size. If it's white space, then continue, increase I, and then check again. Increase I and check again. Right. And then finally, string result equals a substring of string starting at I and going to string size minus I. Return result. Okay. 554. Not is comment. Alright, so that one's interesting. Is comment takes a string str, and the first thing it does is it says int result equals 0. Then if stir dot size is greater than or equal to 2 if stir0 equals this, and uh-oh. Huh. Look at this. Do render file. Did I go out of bounds, or what happened here? Base. This is just during a rendering loop, so it's just the next header somehow got messed up. Very interesting. Let me read real quick. There might be a lot of data in there. Let me read real quick through and see if I can understand what happened. So, GUI target push dot base 25 file editing for 4coder. That's really weird. What are we even rendering here? App step